And we're back in 3, 2, 1. This is the Mankey Show podcast, and I am your host, Mark Mankey, your favorite local realtor and host of this show. We have for our third segment today, Pamela Morgan, and we are so darn lucky because we get to have her and her awesomeness and her energy at the next Okotoks Business Association event. Now, if you live in Okotoks, you own a business, and you haven't heard of the Okotoks Business Association, I suggest crawling out from under your rock. We are going into our third year, and we are flipping awesome. Come join us. We are not boring. So we were going to be talking about, for our 22nd event on March 14th, the voice of self-doubt, also known as imposter syndrome. Pamela, what are we going to be doing?
Well, we're hopefully going to be given some tips. We're gonna maybe feel a little bit
more in front of the microphone there. Oh, just over, so that's you're not going past it. There you go.
Good.
That's good.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is live, folks. By the way.
This is live. I don't do post production.
Yeah.
This is the real deal.
It's the real deal. We're just going to chat. In my workshops, we tend to have really interactive involvement, and we're going to chat about feelings.
Uh-oh.
And
if you make me cry, I'm out of there.
Well, ask my husband. I sometimes make that happen, right?
Oh, shoot.
Not him. He's used to it, but
okay.
And just share some tips. I think my number one rule is never be the smartest one in the room, right? There's a lot that everybody has to offer, and it's just something that, surprisingly, they say 70% of the population suffers from imposter syndrome. I'm going to move that dial to probably 90.
So tell me a bit about what is imposter syndrome. And you already answered my next question I had in my pocket. Thanks,
I'm a
Pamela.
keener.
Yeah, you are a high performer. So what is imposter syndrome and why does it matter?
It actually speaks to high performers.
Okay.
And that's kind of what the tagline is. And so what that is feeling like you're a fake and a fraud, that you're going to get found out. Right? You're just winging it.
Why do people feel like that? Like, where does that come from, do you think?
Well, should I blame it on mom and dad? Sometimes I got to blame it on mom and dad.
Can I sue them?
Your grade 3 teacher, right? Yeah, no, you probably can. It just comes from growing up and all of that self-doubt that kind of comes through, this thing called life. And all of those negatives just kind of hang out in our head, right? And, the best way I can align it is you've got that negative chatter always saying, you're not that good. You don't really know what you're doing. And so at this speaking event, we want to talk about how to maybe drown that voice out a little bit and build a hero voice and have that hero talking to you a little bit more and getting that confidence built up.
It sounds like it speaks to a concept. There's not a lot of maxims in life, but I believe one of the maxims, at least in my discovery, is that, and these aren't my words, and I forget exactly who phrases it exactly like this, but you can only rise to the level of your self-concept. I think I learned that at Sandler training. The way I've worded it in my first book was you only treat yourself the way you believe you deserve to be treated. Does that sound like that is pretty much the genesis of imposter syndrome? Like if you don't think, as an example, people that win the lottery, it's famously known that so many of them, they win $20 million and they're broke in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Broke, it's all gone. They just burn it. How do you burn through $20 million? It's not hard. People do that. And my theory is that because they felt like an imposter. They didn't feel like they earned it, like they deserved it, that they are the type of person that should have that kind of money. And if you don't feel like you deserve that money or should have that money, like that's a fit for you, you'll subconsciously sabotage yourself and you'll burn all the money. So if it's true that you can only raise to the level of your self-concept, it's also if you, like the first time I was successful, financially successful for about 5 or 6 years straight, I felt like a fraud the entire time. And I believe that because I totally felt like I was an imposter, I felt like a fraud. That's why when it started to go, I just kind of expected, so yeah, that makes sense. because I didn't really deserve that success. I was just lucky, or it was because of the kindness of others, but it wasn't me. I didn't do that.
Right.
I didn't generate it. And that was a part of my downfall, why I lost everything, was that I didn't think I deserved it in the first place. Kind of like the lottery winners. Thoughts on that?
And you nailed it right there with lucky. You were just lucky, Mark. How many times do we feel that we just were lucky that happened? We might have been working 12 to 14-hour days for 3 years.
Yeah, sure as hell was.
But we were just lucky that we fell into that. And then we usually will have, if you have some of those naysayers in your social circle that might have a little bit of that green envy happening, unfortunately, with them, they'll compound that for you and let you know you're pretty lucky. You're pretty lucky, Mark, that happened. So then they just gave you confirmation. It was luck.
It's funny, you can see it in others. When I was at Remax Advantage, was a Sure Park real estate office. The people that didn't make it, and they were always not just negative talkers, but they would diminish the success of others by saying, well, they're just lucky that. In other words, yeah, I could do that too if I had what they have. Mm-hmm. But they have this unfair advantage over me. So therefore, it's okay, and I excuse myself for failing where they're succeeding. It's an excuse when you say it's luck. It's all it is.
Right.
You know, I mean, luck plays but it's mostly effort. There's a lot more about effort and skill and intelligence and drive than there is luck.
Exactly. And we're programmed in society to believe that if we're not humble, and if we don't downplay any of our success and any of our winnings or any of our reward that has been well earned, we're then arrogant. We go somewhere from humble to arrogant. And there's a place for arrogance, usually in sociopaths and those people, right? But it's more so you need to own your success. You need to applaud your success, and you can do that very adequately.
Well, you can do it quietly too. I mean, I think humility is confidence. I wrote about it in my first book, the difference between arrogance and arrogance. Arrogance and confidence, because they often get confused with each other. But you can say with confidence, I'm pretty good at that, as opposed to saying, I'm way better than you at that. It's a difference.
Absolutely.
It's like you can say that, you know what, I'm pretty good at that, without saying I'm better than you. Then you're not being a douchebag.
Right.
I once had another realtor go, how many deals do you do a year? I'm like, I don't know, 35, 40, which I used to. I can't wait to get back there. God, it's not happening today. But I do 30, 40 deals a year, 35, 40 deals a year, which is reasonable. And he goes, ha, 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 ha. You're nothing compared to me. That's an exact quote, the laugh and everything. I was like, wow, you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
But so that's arrogance on his part, which is the lack of confidence. If you have to shit on somebody, you're not confident.
You are not confident.
No, if you got a crap on somebody, you are not confident. You've got some skills you need to work on.
Yeah.
If you're trying to encourage somebody and bring them up, that's because you're confident enough to do that. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you're at the top of that hierarchy of needs and you've got your other basics looked after, and it's just self-actualization is the top of the pyramid, then you're in a place emotionally where you can lift others, and not so that you get the accolades for it. Some people lift others just to show, look, I'm better than you. That's why they do it. So they're not actually altruistic. They're still a douchebag. Mm-hmm. The action is good, but the intent is wrong.
Right.
As opposed to, I genuinely want to help you because I can see that, because you asked for it.
And it's the right thing to do.
And it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
For sure.
So can you give us sort of a flavor of, if you even have it together yet, of what some of the things will actually be some of the pieces of the puzzle for the imposter syndrome at the workshop?
Well, I don't want to give it all away.
No.
But we are going to have like that open dialogue, and feeling where you are, and maybe talk a little bit of where that came from. Where you don't need to overshare or anything like that. But I think I have a few nuggets of wisdom that maybe I can share of how to combat that, right? You go onto Google, you can cure anything, right? You go onto Google, you got a disease for everything too. I don't believe that imposter syndrome is curable. I think it's manageable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just different techniques and different techniques for everyone.
Isn't it directly related to self-esteem, though? Like the more self-esteem you have, the less the imposter syndrome?
It's a little...
Not necessarily,
not
you don't
necessarily. I'd like to think that I've got a pretty good self-esteem. But there's that voice that can kind of creep up and say, hey, what are you doing? What do you mean Mark asked you to do an imposter syndrome speaking event? You don't know what the hell you're doing. I literally left that day thinking that. But we had an hour conversation about it.
Yeah, we did.
Right?
I had a book signing I did with my first book. It was the other side of imposter syndrome. A guy that came up to me, and because he was my tenant, he didn't, I never put myself above him, even though I was his landlord. I never did that. But every time we got together, he would give me his resume. Like, it's like, by the way, I've done this and I've done that. And it's like, great, man. That's like awesome. Like, I'm happy for you. Why are you giving me your resume? Like, I don't doubt any of these wonderful things.
Right.
Me being your landlord does not put me above you in any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't. It's not even in my head. So why is it in your head? But anyway, I'm doing a book signing at Chapters, and he comes up and he has this confused look on his face, and he picks up my book and his head goes back and his face kind of gets all screwed up and squinched, and he goes, because it's a personal development book, right? Why not me? The keys to unlock your power and release your potential. And he looks at it. He looks at me. He looks at the book. He looks at me. He looks at the book, and he goes, what exactly gives you the right to write a book? Like, what makes you think that you have the ability or the position in life to write a book like this? And I was just shocked. Like, how do you respond to this? I wasn't offended. I was, because I saw it for somehow in that moment. I had the wherewithal to see it for what it was. It was jealousy, and which is unfortunate because I don't understand that. I'm not jealous of people.
Right.
So it's very difficult for me to get it, but I was able to recognize it. And so I just joked about it, and I said, well, I guess you'll have to read it to find out.
There you go. There's the salesman in you.
Yeah. And I didn't defend, justify, or explain.
No.
It's just like, okay, not a fan. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. And Maya Angelou is a great example of writing those books, right? She wrote 11 books. And on her 11th book that, she was signing off, and for everyone, she was saying, this is it. Now they're going to know I'm just a fake. I don't know what I'm doing.
God.
Albert Einstein, compared himself to a swindler, right? Albert Einstein, had imposter syndrome. So rest assured, we're all in great company. We're not alone in thinking that we don't measure up.
And maybe that's the greatest gift of this workshop is almost like a peer support group that I go to every couple of weeks. It's just to know that these feelings are normal, they're natural, but you need to overcome them because they're bullshit.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Entrepreneurs, that's why I'm so excited on doing this workshop with you, because entrepreneurs are very known to suffer this, and I work in my in Key Instincts with a lot of entrepreneurs that struggle with this.
Okotoks Business Association, I came up with the tagline, but it's more of a core thing of what we are. I say that we provide a big voice for small business. Now, what I found when I put together the Home Sellers Bible for homeowners, agents, and investors, I have 10 local business owners who are contributors to the book. A few of them are the people that I said, I like you. I'm going to invite you into being a contributor. And what I would hear them say is, oh, I'm not really an expert. I have really nothing to say. I was like, well, how long have you been doing your trade or profession? oh, 9 years, and you have no idea what you're doing. Oh no, I'm good at it. I do better than most. I think my quality is better than most. But you have nothing to say. That's the imposter syndrome getting in their way, and because of that, they did not participate in this epic book, and it's a damn shame. Same with this podcast. I have some people don't want to be guests on here, and what do they say? That they have nothing to say.
Right.
That's because they feel that they would be an imposter, a fraud, that they're not important enough. Well, we all have a big voice that's repressed and is hiding, and we all have something to share. Because your story isn't the same as my story.
No.
We're both entrepreneurs, but we have different stories. We have different skill sets, different experiences, different spheres of influence. Therefore, we have a different knowledge and perspective of the world around us. So I have something to learn from you. You have something to learn from me, and that's everybody.
Absolutely.
Thing about books, people think, well, you have to be an expert to make a book. Well, there is that, but it's usually the other way around. Experts don't typically make books. Books make experts. You want to be an expert, write the book. And that's going to do two things. One, it ain't easy to write a book. There's all kinds of stuff in my book that I didn't know before because I had to learn it.
Right.
So that's how I became the authority, because through the process of writing the book, all the shit that I had to learn and absorb, and the people I had to talk to and interview, and the resources that I had to collect. There was a hell of a lot of work. So I became an expert through the process of writing that book. Before writing it, I was just another realtor.
Yeah.
So I was proficient, a professional, but not an expert. So you want to be an expert, write a book, and then you're an expert by the end of it, if it's a good book.
If it's a good book, yeah. And like I'd mentioned before, my daughter owns her own company. She's an editor. And she, so you go to her when you want to write your book. And she proofs it and does all those things.
Does she do nonfiction as well?
She does all, yeah.
Okay.
She touches everything. And she's quite brilliant. I'll just throw that in there.
That's amazing, because you couldn't have a daughter older than 12.
I know.
So she's another Doogie Howser.
It's just how
it's
it
genetic.
happened. Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Yeah, we're another gold star. We all have a story. We all have something to offer, and all have something to share. That's why these speaking events that you have are just a great, great venue, Mark, that we all can get in there collectively and share.
How many events have you been at for Okotoks Business Association? Zero?
I have zero.
Zero. But you've been hearing about it. What's the reputation of OBA in town?
Excellent. And I wanted to make the last one specifically because it had Brent talking about mindfulness.
Yeah, that was a great one. It was a sold-out crowd.
Mindfulness actually plays a part in that imposter syndrome. So I hope he's going to be there and bless us with his presence for this one coming up, because I think he has some good stuff to share with mindfulness on how that can kind of combat that imposter syndrome. But I did miss that last one. I was at Bummer. I was at a town at a client's, helping them with their imposter syndrome.
All right. So we're going to have Pamela Morgan talking about imposter syndrome, the voices of self-doubt that we all suffer from some one degree or another. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm super looking forward to it myself. You're a wonderful lady and very smart, and have a ton to share. So if you are a business owner in Okotoks, show up. Get over there. Okotoks Business Association, event number 22 on March 14th from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. I have that time slot because it's internationally proven to be the best time slot. It's also a filter. I keep it, I don't want to get up that early in the morning. Apparently you're not a committed business owner then. I'm going to be very blunt about that. If that, sometimes it's structural, like kids going to school and it's just, you can't make it work.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's just life. But if it ain't worth it to support your business and network with other business owners, you're not a fit, because either you don't see the value or you don't understand the wisdom of it. Mm-hmm. So if you can't get your ass there by 7 a.m. sharp, you're not a fit for the Okotoks Business Association. If that's a problem for you, that's fine. I find that it's 22 events now, sold out events the last 3 or 4, like packed, wall to wall. I cap it at 25 tickets on Eventbrite. That's it. And now we always get a few stragglers, so I expect so we got room for about 33, but that's it.
Okay.
You know, so if you didn't get your ticket on Eventbrite, you might be standing. There's a very good chance that you will not have a chair, so you can you'll be standing or sitting on the floor. So bring a yoga mat. The 22nd, the location is Miles Display and Design, right behind Fix Auto on North Railway Street. Miles Display and Design at 22 Fisher Place. 22 Fisher Place, second floor. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful venue. And that's it. Anything else you want the audience to know about our next event that you will so kindly host?
Oh, no, I'm super excited to be part of it. And thank you, Mark, for opening your doors and letting me share a little bit about this and rally the troops. And please, get up, be there for 7 a.m. I don't think I'm going to disappoint anybody, I take a lot of pride that I can bring some energy to the room and bring a level of camaraderie and cohesiveness that we're all in this together and we can be pretty amazing. We're stronger together. So,
well, tickets are only $20 at the door. That's it. And that includes, believe it or not, food and drinks.
So what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? Food, drinks, venue, great learning, amazing networking for 20 frickin' bucks a head. It's all it is.
Yeah.
That's taxes in. I'm able to flibber it out on Eventbrite so that all their fees and everything else is just $20.
Perfect.
And that's it. Or $20 cash when you show up. That's fine too. That's it. Pamela, thank you so much for doing that. We are so excited this year for 2019 for the Okotoks Business Association. We've kind of got our groove, and it's a sold-out crowd every time. We've had as few as 6 people in the room, but I've got that fixed now, so we're good. Sold-out crowd, phenomenal business owners, and come support yourself and by leveraging your network and meeting new, vibrant business owners on the 14th of March.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Pamela.